now that so many tech stocks have pulled back hard from their highs, we're picking among the rubble to find some incredible buying opportunities, especially ones we can double down on, even if they go lower. I like that. For example, last week, we got a stellar quarter from Arista Networks. That's the up-and-coming networking equipment company that's been an excellent performer since it came public in 2014. Now, last Friday, the stock briefly surged to a two-year high of 326, before finishing the day at 310. Since then, though, Arista's been hammered, along with the rest of tech. Nothing particular to Arista because it was a great quarter, pulling back to just under 280 as of today. This is what we're looking for. Does this one belong on your shopping list? Let's take a closer look. It's been a little while with Jayshree Ullal. She's the president and CEO of Arista Networks. Learn more about the quarter and her company's prospects. Ms. Ullal, welcome back to Mad Money.
It's great to be back after 6 years, Jim. Thank you.
Well, Jayshree, since the time I've seen you, you actually dominate in what you call the cloud titans. And to me, I think that this was the quarter which says the spending's back. They don't just spend for one quarter. They spend for multiple quarters. Is this, after turmoil that you admitted, is this the moment where we have some real visibility in terms of the cloud titans?
Oh, boy, that's a loaded question, Jim, like you always ask. I think we're at the point where we definitely would say our growth is back. And I would also say we always get good visibility, and we really are a preferred partner with our cloud titans. But at this point, I would say we're also looking to diversify our business beyond cloud titans. So the beauty of the quarter, I think, is diversification. We saw ourselves firing on many cylinders, cloud providers, cloud titans, service providers, enterprise, and financials. So we're really looking forward to coming back across three segments, as well as three product lines, and definitely the cloud titans are a big part of it.
Well, it does seem that your infrastructure is much bigger than the cloud titans. I didn't want to include it, but you haven't been on for a while, and people hear it, look, they want to know who does business with Amazon, who does business with Facebook. Even if Facebook declines to under double digit, it doesn't matter. It's you. But I like what you're doing with Nikesh Arora, what you're doing with Palo Alto Networks. I like these last acquisitions because the acquisitions say that security is something that's an add-on, and you're making the company into something that's far bigger than what people used to say was a white box for Amazon. Clearly much more proprietary.
I think you hit it on the nail on the head, Jim. No one company can, as I've always told you, do everything. And we set out on our first decade to really cloudify. And our next decade is to go beyond cloudify, to really bring cognitive client-to-cloud networking to all our partners and customers. And what Nikesh is doing with Palo Alto Networks to protect the network, we take very seriously as well. You got to protect the network. You got to protect your applications. And each one of us has our responsibility in being best of breed in our functions. So we're going to do everything we can to protect the network and work with best of breed partners.
Okay, let's talk about some things that some people might think are not proprietary, but clearly are for you. Merchant silicon. You're unrivaled in the leverage of merchant switching silicon. Isn't silicon just something that is fungible that anybody has?
No, it's tougher to do than you might think. I grew up in the semiconductor industry, and you probably heard a lot about the semiconductor shortages. Silicon is sand and transistors, but as the geometries are changing from 100 nanometers to 5 nanometer silicon, think of this as smaller than a DNA or a human hair. And accumulating so many transistors to build some of the world's most complex chips is really a thing of engineering and art. And we're working with some of the best vendors there, whether it's Broadcom or Intel, to build best-of-breed merchant silicon. This is an expertise that's too good for, again, just us to do. What we do is to power that silicon with the right programmable software. And it's far from proprietary. It's actually standards-based, using the right transistors, the right wafer fabrication facilities, and then the right software that we layer on top of it.
At the same time, though, you mentioned the shortages, and you said in the conference call the real issue for the entire supply chain. You've got products with extremely long lead time, and I feel more confident that you're able to get the supply than others because you've done a lot more planning. The other guys are doing just in time. You're doing just in case, and that's what I want, just in case. But where are you in terms of what is now become a national problem?
Yeah, this pandemic goes beyond our families and friends and health. We've now seen waves of shortages. So I actually thought if you'd asked me this question last year, I was recovering from it. And then we had a second wave in December. And I hope there's not more waves. But what the best we can all do, and my management team has been very prudent in planning for the worst cases, and then some of those worst cases have gotten worse. So my belief right now is we're still 1 or 2 quarters away from a recovery, assuming there's no more phases. But I think what we've really done with our customers is work with them intimately, plan for the worst case, hope for the best case, and give them the best delivery timelines we can. So I'm hoping by summer this year we can recover better.
Okay, now I know we could say, and I don't, for people who are just looking at the stock now, it doesn't really matter the history that you had a bit of a hiccup last year. But, we had Jensen Huang on last night. And Jensen came on in part because he had a great quarter, but also to just explain, look, the data center is just going to grow and grow very big. And it doesn't matter whether it's Cloud Titan, it doesn't matter who it is, but your combination of being kind of the integral, really integral to the data center, but also integral to what you're now doing with the wide area network edge and what you're doing with security, tells me that I have to feel that 2021 can't be in the bag. I understand that because of the pandemic, but this has got to be the best you've felt in a couple of years.
I think so. As you know, I'm not one for superlatives, and I'm known in my reputation to be more conservative. But what Jensen's really getting to is that the heart of the data center is really about centering your data. Now, that sounds really obvious, but centering your data is much, much more complex today because you've got workloads coming from the cloud, from Internet of Things, from enterprises, video workflows, collaboration. The data is plentiful. The data is more of a greater magnitude. I'm on the board of Snowflake than even the applications that carry it. And we in networking, along with Jensen and GPUs and the storage industry, we have a responsibility to carry that data fast and wisely and protect it and predict it and also provide the right analytics and automation for it. So I think the agility of this data and the number of locations of data is really what the data center is becoming. It's not just for the cloud providers alone and the cloud titans, but it's all the distributed data all the way from the client and the user to the cloud.
Well, I'm so glad you pointed that out because I think that I myself have been too limited into it's kind of dazzling that you have all these great clients, but it's far bigger than that. And that wasn't so bad that you dropped Frank Slootman's company, which reports next week, Snowflake, which is another company that is doing incredibly well. This is your year, Jayshree. I'll say it. You don't have to. I'll say it for you. I see the setup, and I like it. That's Jayshree Ullal. She's the CEO of Arista Networks. This has been a phenomenal performer over many years. Mad Money's back after the break.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @JimCramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.